So this is a bombshell story that involves that certain Aquaman starlet's main co-conspirator. And this isn't being reported on at all. See, after years of going after JD and coordinating with a certain Aquaman starlet, it looks like the cat's out of the bag at the ACLU. Well, they've been exposed. Now this should be a huge story too, but the mainstream media, they're covering it up with only one network, the Huffington Post, talking about this at all. No one investigated claims in this either beforehand. No one has talked about it at all afterwards. You and I are going to expose it today. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. Oh man, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. And this story, it is a really, really juicy one. Why? Because this guy, he was a power player in the ACLU. He was the National Political Director. He oversaw National Political Advocacy Department. And that position, well, it is a big one, as noted by the media right here. Listen to this. The department is key to Executive Director Anthony Romero's marquee plan to transform the ACLU from a legal powerhouse into a force to be reckoned with across the entire political battlefield, in state legislators, ballot initiatives, and on issues driving local elections. This is somebody with a lot of political clout and power too, and it does make me wonder, with a resume like this, is this why the mainstream media won't cover it? Because again, only one place covered this whatsoever. They didn't cover any of the claims that led to this, and they didn't cover anything in the aftermath at all. Now, I want to make something very clear, too. I'm not saying that the guy did anything wrong, but the organization that he was working with here, they've told us many times we need to listen and believe. That's what they said when it came to a certain Aquaman starlet and JD, and the media, they not only tell us that, but they love to throw around accusations like this. Here's the accusations, by the way. Quote, as head of the department, Newman held major sway over virtually every political battle that the ACLU has chosen to wage beyond the courtroom. But inside the organization, Newman was the subject of sustained complaints about his treatment of staff, including claims of bullying, misogyny, and accusations that his fixation on short-term wins was thwarting the ACLU's ability to push for more meaningful and lasting policy changes. Now keep in mind, this was a guy that was only in charge 3 years as a director, and during those 3 years, his department of roughly around 100 people, it shed dozens of employees. In the Huffington Post, they added this, by the way, with many of those employees being quote-unquote women of color. By the way, the guy that we're talking about would also be quote-unquote a person of color. Now, I thought that this next statement was really telling about the state of the ACLU. Quote, so many people have left the ACLU that the ACLU has lost the ability to effectively advocate on some of its core issues, former and current staff told the Huffington Post. Now that does make me wonder, is that because of what they're saying this guy did, because that's what they're tagging it to anyhow, or is it because of some of the stances that the ACLU has taken as of late, namely things like that certain Aquaman starlet, what they did to JD, and many other things that they have taken on that do not follow what they say are the core tenets or beliefs that they're going to go out and defend. Now, the truly interesting thing about this is it looks like the ACLU wasn't planning on doing anything whatsoever about this. I mean, remember, this is a company, again, that tells you all the time to listen and believe, and yet they were planning to sweep this under the rug. I mean, sure, they went through the motions hiring an outside agency, but they didn't respond until they found out that the media was going to cover this, and then less than 24 hours later, together, presto, something happens. And you know, it also looks like it was that combined with them not walking lockstep that got them kicked out. Listen to this here. In late 2021, so you're talking about months ago, the organization hired an outside human resources consultant to conduct an investigation of Newman's department. Then, just a week ago, you have staff, they're called into a snap meeting. I like that descriptor, by the way, a quote-unquote snap meeting. That means impromptu, off the cuff. So we're talking about not planned, where they learned that Romero had decided to make quote-unquote leadership changes and that Newman, he would be leaving in the next 2 weeks. So they not only got rid of him, but they got rid of him, and they got rid of him quickly. Now the meeting, it takes place less than 24 hours after the Huffington Post informed the organization that it had learned about outside human resources investigation and was planning to write a story. So it looks like a response to that story. And here's another component. It also fell in the middle of a staff revolt over an op-ed by one of Newman's deputies in which he supported a San Francisco mayor, London Breed's tough on crime crackdown. So he supported the wrong type of policy here. Plus, the media, they start looking at it. So bam, he is out the door. Now, what's equally fascinating is how the Huffington Post reacts to this news, because the Huffington Post typically, they'll write anything whatsoever. They'll go after anyone, but they decide to back off and they won't mention it again after this article. Listen to how they put this together, too. Former and current employees who spoke to Huffington Post this week alleged that Newman was bullying and misogynistic. Notes and internal documents that HuffPost review reflect similar complaints. So they saw internal documents that suggest the exact same thing, but Newman's departure was announced before Huffington Post was able to corroborate those claims or obtain information about how HR inquiries into Newman's behavior concluded. So they gave up the ghost with that departure. That, like I said, that's not like them at all. Now, the problems, they don't stop there either. Oh no, not at all. As some employees actually say, that guy, he wasn't actually the problem. He was the scapegoat in this situation. The real problem is the organization. And again, listen and believe. They're the ones that told us that after all. So when these folks, they say that there is a huge problem with the organization, yep, I'm supposed to believe that, right? Listen to this here. Several women of color who were part of the exodus from Newman's team said they left because of discrimination they experienced at many levels of the organization, not solely because of Newman and not because of him at all in some cases. One former employee said she didn't think Newman, who is black, would have been singled out for complaints about his behavior if it weren't for his race. Quote, "There are no innocent parties," she said. The organization's answer to listen and believe, too, is if you don't like what we did, well, you need to get out. Quote, "For each of you individually, the hard question is, can I give this another shot and give it my best? If the answer is honestly no, then you owe it to yourself, the organization, and to your colleagues to be real and to make a change that allows you to engage at some other part of the ACLU or at another organization." So, again, listen and believe, yeah, it matters until. I'm still looking into this too, but let me know what you think about it. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Can't say that enough. Want to help out the channel in different ways, by the way. Links are in the description. Also, share the video. You know that drill, subbing and on. But you being here, that matters most of all. So thank you. Appreciate you. End it here. See you soon.